Those are awesome sounds coming there from Abednego Tando to Take Me Not. You're listening to Radio Pulpit, your daily companion, 657 AM. This is where you at. It is just for you. I'm Spongile Mofuking, and I'm with you up until 11 o'clock. Away from your presence. Take me not away from your presence. I can sense some David in the song, who always was chasing after the presence of the Lord. Hey, and before that, Zach Williams, so good to me, and it's 2 minutes just after 10. Now, some of the biggest problems impacting the continent today are electricity outages, right? Lack of drinkable water, little to no knowledge on how to farm and contribute to a thriving agricultural market, no access to computers, and a lack of computer literacy. So the PHO Business Competition is an initiative that aims to empower and equip South African and African entrepreneurs through high-value training and education, understanding that entrepreneurship is a beacon of hope in a continent with such few employment opportunities. The PHO Business Competition is extended to encourage creative solutions to real world problems. So today, we congratulate and welcome Hlani Sefika, the official winner of 2024 Pitch Your Business competition. Hlali, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am blessed of the Lord. Congratulations. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, and I'm still sinking in. Even like a week on, I'm just still like, in high spirits from it. And, from here onwards, I think that's when the real work begins.
Yeah, you have to enjoy. You have to bask in it first. Absorb it first.
I think the family's been more excited than even I've been taking it in because I was just like, okay, it was a huge deal though. I mean, 5 long months of putting in that work and, just hoping every step of the way that, you're doing, the most earnest work that it is that one can put in.
Wow. But Hlali, what inspired you to participate in the PHO business competition? I mean, like people listen to us going, PHO business is coming, PHO business, you can register. But you were inspired to participate. What inspired you?
I think it's been more of that, for a journey that we've been taking, it's been quite lengthy with ourselves, and it's been through a series of ups and downs. We've had a few, fair share of successes, but also being started with a bit of failure here and there. And so we just felt that, especially when I'm running with my brother, we just felt that we want to have a second chance at this thing. I don't know. I'd say now a second chance at this thing because I think one something that people don't realize is, how lengthy and how testing entrepreneurship is. So
yeah.
For me, it was more like to actually get an ear from like-minded people to actually validate what it is that we see within the world and then the market itself.
Yeah, no, we don't understand entrepreneurship. One thinks, today I'm just going to buy those things and then sell. Born and make money.
You see, it's way more.
Yeah, it is way more than that.
That you have to think about it. It is quite in depth, but with programs like these, they're more streamlined, even the knowledge that in part that you had, but it distills it to something that is much more manageable, but also targeted to your objectives that you seek to get out.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, looking at it beyond than just even being a competition, is being equipped with the right tools, knowing that, you're going to go out into the world to conquer and not just, be flying close to the sun and only to crash and burn.
Yeah.
Like we have, numerous times in the past.
So can you describe a significant obstacle you encountered while starting your business and how did you overcome it?
For us, it's the major one has actually been the funding component. I think especially if you think in a country like ours where I feel like the startup culture is still too young. with where we are. And more often than not, aside from the powers that would be as far as financiers and funders and the like, even from your own community, and sometimes even in the household, it's very difficult when you have to convince people, of leaving a system of faith where, you could go to school. After you go into school, you go do your internships, learnerships, and what have you, in hopes of landing a job, cushy salary, the corner office or what have you, that you could have a hope of that. Whereas you say that, no, I actually want to create something that could end up into a legacy for the whole family that incorporates a lot of people, but not just even the family, but various sectors of society. So for us, it's been that component of making people understand that, look, what we do have is something relevant, because in the landscape we live in right now, we have always been encouraged that, look, it's time to create new businesses, it's time to create new brands and lifeblood for the economy. But these things, I think that what they should be taking note of is that they do not come from thin air.
Yeah,
it actually takes it takes time and planning, and it takes going against the grain as far as what everyone is used to as far as the status quo is concerned, to say that I believe in this so much that I will give up almost everything. I'll give up even the comfort of what life has to offer, just so to see this thing through.
So it needs tenacity. It needs persistence as well. I can just hear words that sometimes you might have came across. Hamfana wabona, it doesn't work. Let's try something.
It's been rough, because even with our thing right now, we've been doing it, I think, now since 2016 in several different iterations. This is basically the third pivot, but it's one where we feel most strongest with our product being the miracle quickness, just as water. But it has been built upon, as I say, success is something I would not shun away from. Success is failures.
Yeah.
From there, even those failures in and of themselves, ironically, were successes, because when you have other cases of entrepreneurs where they could tell you, I've started many businesses and they've failed. This is my seventh business or whatever. I think, for me, it's been something that ever since I could remember, my mother selling, cookies. And there was a time when she came with a microwave. I think this was way back in like almost 20 years ago now. Where she just wanted to feed her kids. And from there, watching her doing her thing, trying to make a ginger cookies from a magazine edition. Back in those days, I think it was a Borna magazine or something like that, and they didn't come out right. And she never quit. She did, iterative steps over and over and over, and from there came up with something where I ended up through high school selling her products, which were cookies, and they were quite a hit. And from there, took it even further. Then after, having to drop out from varsity, carried on with the journey. I just felt that for me, it is a continuation of what she was doing. And I basically gave it a name to say that this is Woven Miracles. It's not only my miracle, it's a miracle for the whole family. And it is something that once I carry it forward, I'm hopeful to add many more components to it. So it's been, unlike other entrepreneurs, as I say, who say that I have multiple businesses that have started to fail, this has been multiple businesses in and of itself. And that's why I think we feel so strongly about it, myself and the family.
Wow, this is amazing. Such an awesome journey that you've had, not alone, but with the family. That's so encouraging right there. So, Hlali, in what ways has completing training, you mentioned 5 months of training. So in what ways has completing training offered throughout the phases of the PHO business competition impacted and changed your approach to business?
I think for me, it has brought out the manager in me over the being a leader, because the thing that people have to understand with entrepreneurship is that there's two major components to it. There's leadership and there's management. Those two things are, people tend to conflate them, but they're not the same. Not to say that a leader does the right thing, but the manager does what is right. And focusing on that component is that the manager is the one who thinks about what structures are there to govern this thing that has been built. Where the entrepreneur goes out to say, and the leader say, I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to put this, I'm going to procure this project, this pyramid or what have you. And the manager has to put in components to say, look, I need a workforce of this many people. And these people need to come in at a certain shift in time. And I'm going to need the value proposition centered around that? What is the segments that are related to that? What all the small nitty gritties that are contained within that? And for us, I think it was centering mostly around what a business model canvas is. And for me, I think it was expanding upon the knowledge that I had in part, but it refined it because I've been looking particularly with the business model canvas. I've looked mostly with Dr. Alex Osterwalder's work, and it's been what he's covered as far as what a business model canvas is upon 9 steps. And then in those 9 steps, if you really can, I could say, spread that information and explain it, to a 5-year-old as much as you'd explain it to your grandmother, you actually do know what you're talking about. It could be even rocket science, it could be, nuclear physics, but if you can put it in those 9 blocks and, are able to simplify it without adding unnecessary jargon and, formulae and all these things that, could be bogged into the mind, but actually saying it very simply in simple words or simple English or what have you, then you know actually what it is that you're talking about. Even to yourself, it's like an echo chamber to yourself that as it bounces back to you to say, okay, now I did this thing wrong, I did that thing right. And then as to by order of cancellation what it is that you need to be solving.
Wow. You have been born into the world of entrepreneurship. I can just say you are an entrepreneur from birth. so then one would ask a question, what role do you believe entrepreneurship plays in addressing unemployment and economic development in Africa?
I think the thing we never really take to note is that entrepreneurship, we live entrepreneurship, we breathe entrepreneurship. Every one of us who claims to have a job actually goes to work for an entrepreneur in one form or another. Because if you think about it, everything that you are using was once in someone else's imagination, and that said person or group of people had to also prove their mission to the world. At one point, they were proven to be crazy. I mean, if you're talking to me through a microphone, through a telecommunication system, there's satellites in the sky capturing this frequency and signal, and a cell phone. There are people who had to sit down, scientists, engineers, and a man of people in the community who had to actually say that, look, I see this thing happening this way. But it happens upon one thing that people don't even notice, that scale happens upon a successive scale. So to build something, so just to make an example, in order for you to have a car, you can't have a car without fuel stations. And you can't have those fuel stations without mines for minerals and what is this, things like your fossil fuels, so that you can get that system going. Meaning, that's why it's called a supply chain or a value chain, is that each and every individual or entity in that chain are benefiting off of each other, so that they can get a core deliverable to you as a consumer, whatever it is that you require. So in that context, it is something that should actually drum up who we are as a people. And it's something that, I feel for me, as you're asking what impact should it play even on the continent, it's not being taught young enough. It's not being taught young enough. I feel like more than anything, if you think of athletes like your Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and I can go on with it, these guys are at the top of the game, because when you go into their history, you find that they've been doing this more before they even uttered their first word.
So true.
You find that it is what they've been about. So imagine when you can actually bring up a new generation of entrepreneurs that they've been failing from day one. They've understood all the dynamics of it. They can tell you about what taxation is. They can tell you about what sales is, what marketing is, what a value proposition is. When I ask you to the core, what problem is it that you're solving? You can answer it succinctly, and I know that when I talk to your market base, they actually can correlate with what it is that you're saying.
Sure. Now, Hlani, being the official winner of the competition, you have now unlocked highly valuable marketing exposure and in-depth mentorship. How do you see this benefiting your business?
In quite major ways. Let's say it's been a bit of a surreal experience. So really with where we are right now, we are in the behind-scenes planning. Literally, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm just laying out the back end work of what we want to create our website, and that website would actually be an e-commerce store, but not just a website. So we had been doing our research as to looking as to what would it take to have a a really good quality website. When Sibongile logs on there, she comes across as to who we are as Over Miracles Enterprises and what is our value proposition, being the miracle quick mix, just that water. I mean, just imagine that it's that simple for you that, like just this morning, as
Yeah.
we're thinking with how things are, just
Yeah.
this morning when I woke up, because this thing, we're still wrapping it up, I just thought to myself, I was like, it would be nice if I would just have some flapjacks or waffles right now. But I just had water instead of these eggs and oil and milk that I have to crack and mix up
Yeah.
and look at all these ratios and do a small prayer to hope that it'll come out restaurant perfect. Whereas when you're thinking of something that's simple with what it is that we intend to do, we want to throw in the R&D, we want to throw in the the flashing lights to it. I could
Mm.
say, but
Mm.
more to say that when you come into the space as our valued consumer, you can actually be willing to interact with us and actually see the value that it is that we bring to you. So as
Mm.
to say, even like, see the forest for the trees, then you know that what it is that we are giving you, it's actually a value add in your life, and it is not just something that's flashy and then just passing.
So, what advice do you give to future contestants about leveraging opportunities from competitions like this? Like I said earlier in the beginning, we've been talking about pitch your business, and others are like, "Oh, next year, next year, kinna Hlali."
Indeed,
Yeah, kinna Hlali next year.
yeah.
Mm,
For me, I would say, look, when you see that application,
yeah.
apply, do what it is that is required of you. But more than even doing what is required of you, it's very easy that we doubt ourselves and everything. And as people, we are very social beings, and more than anything, you'd want that there are people out there to validate what it is you're talking about. So maybe in the environment that you are in, people don't believe in what it is that you say that you're standing for and what it is that you're doing, or maybe too few people believe. But in environments like these ones, where there's NWU, Radio Pulpit, and Youth, and TV and Africa as well, you have like-minded individuals who say, look, we see what it is that you stand for. It is
Mm-hmm.
not even always. We always think it's just about winning, but
Mm.
it is about the journey in itself and what it is that you extract from it. So there's literally nothing you stand to lose by just entering and playing your part. From there, I'd say just follow what it is that is required of you,
Mm-hmm.
step by step, give
Mm-hmm.
it your best. And more than anything, as I said, then just doing what it is required of you. Go the extra mile. Go do your own research. Some things are nice when you do a twist to them. You're an entrepreneur after all. You do things differently from everyone. You think differently from everyone. So I'd like to even think that the reason that we won is that we differentiated ourselves. That was at the core of what it is that we are doing, is that we stood to differentiate ourselves, and that is why what makes you to be valuable in this world that we live in is
Was
that
it hard?
we're looking for what it is that you stand for.
Was it hard to enter for PQ business?
Not really. The process itself was quite seamless, to be honest. I went
Uh,
I went on Facebook. I saw it on at midnight, I believe. After I think
what?
I
Midnight?
was cool. That's it, really. Like as I was going about my other work, I saw it in there, and I was like, "Look, what would it hurt? Here's the closing date.
Uh-huh.
I think it was sometime at the end of June, July there, and then I submitted everything I had to submit that was required of me. Literally, it was a form where it tells you more about the business that it is that you're
Ah.
doing, what problem it is that you're solving. There's 5 or 6 questions that require about a paragraph each, more or less. And then from there, and when you have time, you're given about ample time, a few
Mm,
weeks,
mm.
and then from there you sit down. It actually asks of you what it is that you're solving, and have you considered certain things that you're talking about, and then from there just submit. Then you wait to hear from the organizers as to you're going to the next step. And you go into the next step. Hey, you never know that it goes from an odd 300 people down to top six, down to maybe you being the winner. That's
Mm,
what it is.
mm, mm. Hlali, I believe that this is the best gift you have given yourself for Christmas for 2024.
Yes. Even I was just saying, like last week, it was my brother's birthday on the 11th, and I was like, look, it's a birthday gift for him because he was sulking a bit after a while. Where I was just like, look, man, we're gonna come back with this. They were confident in everything, but
Yeah.
sometimes that things like competition, they can have you on tenterhooks, and you just like you just wanna drive the goal into the goalpost and hope for all the best. So I did this even for him as well, because I think he's been my day one as we've been pushing this along. It's been quite lengthy, but I definitely do intend to enjoy the gift for what it is. And as I say, the work is just getting started for us. So, it's quite an invaluable tool that we intend to open our doors with.
Wow. Didn't I tell you you were going to win?
Pardon?
Didn't I tell you were going to win?
Yes,
The
yes.
other
That's why
day.
I say that, look, like my mantra is simple. Look, from your lips to God's ears, that is what I was just taking it in as. Is to say that, it's easy when to win when people want you to win.
Wow.
You have to run with that. And in that space that we always think that everyone must have a chip on their shoulder to someone to prove them right and everything else. But there's even the opposite end of things that, when you come in with the right, exuding the right spirit, I like to call it the warrior spirit, to say that you are sure about yourself and with what you stand in. Win or lose, you know what it is that you stand to offer. Because even champions, at what you call a champion, it is even how they handle their losses. Because I think I was telling even Luca the other day that
Yeah.
when the winnings were announced that we had won and everything, the first thing I told my family was not that I won. Actually, just to see how they handle loss, I was like, no, we lost. And and for a good 10 minutes,
How sharp
you
was
imagine how
Hlali,
that phone call went. But they handled it gracefully, and I knew, I was like, these people always standing by me, and they
Yeah.
were my support system.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with that, then I relieved them. I was like, oh, shame, you know what? They really need to know the good news, because I knew that, they brought me this far, and even God is himself that brought me this far with what it is that we're doing. I put them out of their misery, and everyone is happy, and still as they are today. So
Who's the
it was
wait?
wonderful.
Hlali, all of God's best moving forward. May He open those doors that you have been trusting Him to open for you, and all of the best in the coming
I received.
year and years as well. God bless. Thank you for talking to
Indeed,
us this morning.
watch this space. All I can
Uh-huh.
say is, when you get that water, you will make my smile.
All right. All right. I can't wait. Alles van God se
Thank you very
beste.
much.
Thank you, Hlali. And
All right.
yes, my family, that is Hlali Sefika. Hlali Sefika is the PTO Business First Place winner, and he is in the enterprise for baking and Braai enterprise. Wow, congratulations to him.